Welcome, it's the RC Renegade. Today we are adjusting the carburetor on the Kyosho Inferno MP9 project car. We need to adjust the carburetor on our Kyosho Inferno MP9, so first let me show you where the carburetor is and I'll explain what it does. First we have to remove our cover, and then our carburetor is right here. So you might be wondering, well, what is a carburetor? What does it do? Your carburetor is this contraption right here. And a carburetor mixes air and fuel that goes into the engine. It just controls the ratio of air and fuel that goes into the engine, which is right here. So you can see our fuel line comes from our tank and feeds around into the inside of the carburetor right here. And you'll notice we have adjustment screws. And these adjustment screws, you can tune them and turn them to adjust the ratio of air to fuel that goes into the engine, which is located right here. Let's take a look at our official Kyosho issued manual to see how to adjust the carburetor. Here we have our official Kyosho issued manual, and it tells us right here how to adjust the carburetor. Now you might be noticing, wait a minute, that's not in English. That's correct. It's in Japanese because this car was imported straight from Japan. Kyosho, the company itself, is based out of Tokyo. It's a Japanese company, and so the manual is in Japanese. Let's see if we can find an English version, because I cannot read Japanese. Take 2. We found an English manual for this car. So you'll notice it tells us what the different needles do and how to adjust them. This is for the engine break-in procedure when you buy the car. You can see it says engine starting and break-in. When you buy a nitro car, you break in the engine by running it rich on fuel to give it plenty of lubrication to protect this engine. And so we're gonna just take this car and put it back to factory specs. So you can see we have our carburetor here with our different needles, and this manual tells us exactly what the different needles do. So we have 3 needles on this carburetor. This top needle right here is our high-speed needle that adjusts the engine when it is running at high RPMs. This needle right here is our low-speed needle that adjusts the engine at lower RPMs. And then this third needle right here that is sticking out is our idle adjustment screw. And this adjusts the throttle body positioning, like in the carburetor itself. So we're going to go off this manual here, and we're going to adjust each of these back to factory specs. So let's get into that right now. First, we are going to adjust our idle adjustment screw. So the idle adjustment screw adjusts the gap of the throttle body. You can see there's pictures of gaps here, but when we look at our car, there's really not much of a gap at all. The idle adjustment screw is located right here, and the throttle body for the carburetor is actually located under the air filter right here. Now it's kind of hard to see, but I'll do my best to show you, and if it doesn't focus or you can't see, I apologize. But right there inside that blue tube is the throttle body of the carburetor, and you can see there's barely any gap at all, and it's closed. According to this, we need at least a small gap. According to the manual, you can have a larger gap or a smaller gap. We want at least a little bit of a gap. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna turn the idle adjustment screw here, and as we do so, it'll open up more of a gap. And I apologize because I know it's hard to see, but I'll try to show you once I have it adjusted. See, I'm just slowly turning this screw, and as I do that, it opens this throttle body. I was able to get the idle adjustment screw adjusted, and you can see there is a gap there on the throttle body, just like shown in the manual. And once again, guys, I apologize because I realize it is kind of hard to get the camera to focus and to see inside of there. But just know that I did get the idle adjustment screw back to factory specs. Now, say I go to run the car and it's not right, I can always go back and change this later. Right now, we're just trying to get this car as close to factory specs as possible. Next, we are going to adjust our low speed needle. Our low speed needle is located right here. And according to the manual, it says to tighten screw so it protrudes 0.4 to 0.5 millimeters away from the housing. The housing is located right here, and the screw is to protrude out just a little bit, or 0.4 millimeters out from the housing. So you can see right now, the screw is pretty flush with the housing, so we're gonna take it out maybe a turn or two and just move that screw out just a little bit to get it back to factory specs. So we're just slowly turning it out. Okay, we gave it about a turn and a half there, and it's kind of tricky to see, but the screw is protruding out just a little bit from the housing. Next, we're going to move on to our high-speed needle, which is located right here. Now we move on to our high-speed needle, and you can see the manual says 3.5 turns unscrewed from closed position. You might be saying, well, what in the world does that mean? Well, here is our high-speed needle right here, and we don't know where it's set at this exact moment, so I'm going to tighten it all the way down and then go 3.5 turns out from all the way down, and that will reset it to factory specs. Now, it's very important when you're doing this, do not force it. Like, don't try to jam the screw inside, because these are very touchy, and you don't want to jam the needle inside. It'll damage the needle. Okay, so right now it's just like, loosely finger tight closed. So right now this is closed. So we're gonna go 3.5 revolutions out from the closed position, and then that will set the high-speed needle back to factory specs. So, sorry guys, it's hard to film and do this at the same time. But as of right now, this high-speed needle is all the way closed. So we're gonna turn one turn. There's one. There's two. There's three. And there's 0.5. So we turned the high-speed needle 3.5 turns from the closed position. As of right now, as far as I can tell from going off of the official Kyosho Inferno translated manual, this carburetor is back to the factory specs for engine starting and braking. So that's another chapter in this book, guys. As always, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, and be on the lookout for more videos. We're going to try to run this car soon, so be on the lookout for that video. Thank you guys. We'll catch you in the next one.